Mutoko Farms were once quiet in a way that felt permanent. Wide land, red soil, wind moving through maize and misasa trees like a long breath. Long before independence, one particular farm stood apart from the rest. It was owned by a white woman the locals only ever called Madam Evelyn. Few people knew her real surname. Fewer still had ever spoken to her for long. She lived alone in a long farmhouse built from stone and timber, with wide corridors that echoed when you walked through them. At the front of the house was a veranda that faced the sunrise. At the back, a deep well. Around the house, flowers bloomed in impossible neatness: roses, lilies, wild blooms arranged in rows so straight they looked measured by string. Even during drought, those flowers never wilted. Madam Evelyn loved that land in a way that frightened people. She woke before dawn every day, torch in hand, walking the corridors, checking doors, listening to the night. She spoke to her cows as if they were children. She watered her flowers herself, never trusting workers to do it properly. At night, people passing the farm would see a moving light in the house long after. Everyone else slept. Then the land changed. When farms were reclaimed and returned to the people of Mutoko, Madam Evelyn was already old. Too old to leave easily. Too proud to go quietly. She refused compensation, refused relocation. She told officials she would die on that land. And she did. They say she collapsed in the corridor one winter night, her torch still burning beside her. By morning, the light had gone out, but she never left the house. The farm stood empty for months after her burial. People avoided it. Birds refused to nest near the house. Dogs would not cross the gate. At night, some swore they saw torchlight moving inside, slow and deliberate, like someone making their final rounds. Eventually, the land was sold. The man who bought it was called Shingai. Shingai was not foolish. He was a farmer who believed in hard work, not ghosts. He had heard the rumors. Yes, but hunger is louder than fear. The land was fertile. The price was low. He told himself that stories grow wherever land changes hands. The first night he slept in the house, nothing happened. The second night he heard footsteps. They were soft, unhurried, moving from one corridor to another. Not the dragging steps of an intruder, not the clumsy stumble of an animal. These were familiar steps, as if the house remembered the weight of the person walking. Shingai lay still, heart beating hard, listening. The footsteps stopped outside his bedroom door. Then they moved on. By morning, the yard was swept. He told himself the wind had done it. The third night, he woke to the sound of water. Not rain, not pipes. Careful pouring. The splash of water meeting soil. From his window, he could see the flowers glistening in moonlight, freshly watered. The ground was dark with moisture. No footprints. The fourth night, he heard pots, metal against metal, a plate set down gently, the sound of a lid being lifted and replaced. Cooking not loudly, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knew exactly where everything was. His stomach twisted with hunger and fear. He stayed in bed until dawn. When he finally stepped into the kitchen, the sink was clean, dishes washed, pots stacked neatly, the fire cold, as if it had been used hours earlier. On the fifth night, the animals reacted. The cows lowed softly, not in panic in greeting. Chickens rustled in their coop like they recognized a familiar presence. Even the goats stood still, heads raised, listening. At exactly 4 a.m., everything stopped. Silence fell like a door being closed. Every night after that followed the same pattern. Footsteps, water, cleaning, cooking. A moving torchlight sliding along the corridors, pausing at doors, checking locks, always ending at 4 a.m. Shingai stopped sleeping. He began to sit in the dark, wrapped in a blanket, watching. One night he saw her. Not fully, not clearly, just a shape pale against the darkness, moving through the yard with a torch. Her body seemed solid in some moments and thin as mist in others. She bent over the flowers, watering them one by one, just as she had done in life. He could hear her humming, a tune with no words. When she passed beneath the veranda light, he saw her face. Calm, focused, not angry, not aware of him at all. That terrified him more than rage ever could. She walked into the house and vanished down the corridor. Shingai did not follow. By morning, everything was perfect. Too perfect. The house smelled faintly of cooked food that was no longer there. The floors gleamed. The doors were locked, all of them, including one Shingai knew he had left open. The land was alive with her routine. She was not haunting. She was living. Neighbors began to notice changes. Flowers bloomed brighter. Crops grew unusually strong. But Shingai grew thin. His eyes sank. His voice shook when he spoke. He stopped staying in the house at night, choosing instead to sleep near the cattle. Even there, he could hear her footsteps moving inside the farmhouse. One night, he heard his name, not shouted, spoken gently. Shingai. It came from the corridor. He did not answer. The next morning, his bedroom had been cleaned. His clothes folded, his shoes placed neatly by the door. That was when he broke. Shingai left the house before sunset that day and never returned to sleep there again. He moved his family away. He sold the land at a loss. Even now, he refuses to speak of what he saw in full. Only this: she was not evil. She was not angry. She just never accepted that the land was no longer hers. To this day, people traveling near that old farm swear that between midnight and 4 a.m., a torch still moves through the corridors. Flowers are watered. Doors are checked. The house is kept ready as if its owner might wake at any moment and step fully back into the world. And if you pass too close at night, you may hear footsteps following you, careful, protective, making sure everything is in order. Because Madame Evelyn is still home.